Hey guys, it's Miss Abercrombie, and this is our sixth and final video in our test taking strategies series. So if you're watching this video, that means that you have completely watched the videos and done the passages for days 1 through 5. It also means that you should have your notes open in front of you to day 6, and you should have raised your hand and gotten the passage Hottest Soup in New York. If you haven't done any of those things, stop the video now and fix those before you go on. So if you're ready to start on today's lesson, let's go ahead and dive in. What we're talking about today is kind of wrapping up all of the things we've done so far. We've talked about 5 different specific strategies that you could use on the EOG, and at this point, it's your turn. We said way back when in the very first video that the plan that's going to work best for you is the plan that you make yourself. We could tell you exactly what you are required to do on every passage, but everybody is an individual, and so everybody needs to have their own individual plan that works best for them as a person. So that's your job today, is to figure out of all the things we've done so far, what's going to work best for you. When you sit down in a few weeks to take the EOG, what do you need to do on each and every passage? So before we start, think about these 3 things real quick. Take a step back and think about, are there any test-taking strategies that you've used in the past that we haven't talked about in these last 5 days? For example, I've seen a lot of people crossing out answers that they know aren't right. That's a great strategy. We haven't talked about that one, but that's still a really good one to use. I've seen some people writing a prediction before they start the test. Again, that's a good strategy that you might have been taught in the past that we haven't talked about here. So think real quick, are there any things that you normally do or that you've done in the past that you think you might want to incorporate when you take the real EOG? Also think about, what are the strategies we've talked about in the last 5 days? If you need to flip back and look at the notes for each of those, that's perfectly fine. But think about which of these really helped you understand the text better, which of them really made sense to you and helped you as a person, and which of them were just kind of either annoying or you didn't feel like you got a lot out of them or they kind of slowed you down. What you need to decide today is, what do you need to do on the real EOG? One thing you've got to remember is that this is a long test. You're doing all 6 passages in one day, in one sitting. So whatever plan you make, it needs to be able to be something that you can do on the very last passage. When you've been working for 2.5 hours and you're tired and you're bored and you don't want to do this anymore, whatever your plan is, it needs to be something that you're willing to stick to all the way until the end of the test. One of the things we hate to see is when kids are really excited and really focused on those first 2 passages, and then by the end they've worn themselves out. Don't put so much stuff in your plan that you're going to end up burning out halfway through the test. But you've got to do something. Doing nothing is a surefire way to not do as well as you could. If your plan is to start at the beginning of the test, read down the page once, and look at the question once, circle an answer you think is best, I'll be honest with you, that's a bad plan. You might, if you're a smart, good reader, be able to eke out a good, decent grade, but I guarantee you, you won't do as well as you could. You're not going to get 100. You're not going to get a high score if you just do that, even if you're a great reader. The only bad plan is no plan. You need to be doing something, however small, to interact with the text in some way. So what you need to do now is kind of decide for yourself, what is your plan going to be? When you sit down to take the EOG, what are you going to do before you read the passage? What are you going to do while you read the passage? What are you going to do after you read the passage? Remember, whatever you choose needs to be something that you can sustain throughout the whole test. So you don't necessarily have to do every single thing we've talked about. In fact, I would encourage you not to do every single thing we talk about, because it's going to take you a lot of time and a lot of energy. We've given you options. You have to choose the ones that work best for you. But you gotta do something, right? To make sure that you're really interacting and staying focused on that test. Okay? So take a second now, pause the video, think about what we've talked about today, what we've talked about these last few videos, and what you have done in the past, and decide what is it that you're going to do. Whatever you write down right now is what you are agreeing to, so make sure you really think it through. Go ahead and pause the video and take care of that. Okay, so the only way to know whether or not this plan is going to work for you is to try it out. So you have one last passage today, the Hottest Soup in New York. Whatever you decided on as your plan, while you're reading this passage today, you are responsible for following through on. So take a second right now and close your eyes. Actually, literally close your eyes. Take a second, pretend like this is the real EOG. You've got that teacher standing up in front of you, blah, 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 the same script that you've been hearing since 3rd grade. Please take out your number 2 pencil. You may not go on any other portions of the test book. Please make your marks heavy and dark. All the same stuff that we tell you every single year. They've talked you through this. They've gone through blah, 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 blah. You may now begin. Okay? And pretend like you're actually taking this for the first time today. Go through your plan step by step exactly like you would do it on the test and see if this plan is going to work for you. If you find that you're not doing some parts of your plan or you forget about them or you find something else that you're doing naturally, this is the opportunity today for you to sort of tweak it and change it before you actually sit down to take the EOG in a few days. Okay, so you've got the hottest soup in New York. Make sure you're executing your plan as you go through and read and answer the questions. Good luck and have fun.